light, press the K key, and there it comes up, and I can select a new color, and press OK, and boom. And actually, if you look in your 3D window, it looks red now. And if I escape, the entity looks red too. Nice little feature there. Okay, so I'm going to hit the space again and create another one, and drag it over here. And just for fun, I'll make that blue. Okay, and that's it. And I'll leave this window dark and escape and save my map again. And that's it. You've just created your test level. Okay, so with that done, there's one more other thing that you might want to do for, well, we'll get into that with multiplayer. Let's say we're done. Let's say we're done making our single player map, okay? I'm going to close this out because I want to save my resources for compiling the map. The larger this gets, the more resources you're going to really want to save on. So I'm going to close the editor, and I'm going to go over into the level compiling tools, and I'm going to refresh the list of maps here, and you'll see it says test 2 now. Now I'm ready to turn this into a map to play. So let's follow some of these steps here. First, compile the BSP. A little window will come up like this. It'll run through, and probably the game might open up for a moment and then close up again right about here when it's doing its lighting. Yep, there it goes. It's actually compiling some lighting information. Waiting for it, and then it says it's done, so I'll press any key to continue. Now we want to compile the reflections. I don't know how much reflection will actually go on in the map since we didn't put in all these fancy stuff, but you can do that. You can compile actually I recommend it. Compile the reflections here. Another black window will come up. The game will open up. It's going to check the reflections within the game. It's using some code that's important for the game. Next, we need to build a fast file. Now, a fast file is the file that is used to provide your map to the world. They used to use IWD, which was a version of a zip file, but now they're using fast files, which you must use this level compiling tool in order to create one. So I'm going to click Build Fast File. There are no zone files. Would you like to create them? Yes, I would. Zone files. Here, let me push this over to here. It's not important that this string is missing. Okay. Zone files actually contain all the information that is in your map. Let's say you put a weapon in there and a player in there. It says, okay, a player's in there. Okay, a map's in there. Okay, this image is in there. And it's saying this is all in your zone. And if you ever change the map, you're going to have to update your zone file for it so that all the information's in there. And then you're going to have to rebuild the fast file. I know, it's confusing, but you do it a few times and it'll make more sense. So if you're having issues after making some changes to the map, you have to update your zone file. So we'll work with the update the zone file later on. Now, we're ready to run and test our map, but before we do, I suggest you to select Enable Developer and Enable Cheat, which will allow you to run some developer options in there, such as no clip, so you can look around and look for issues. Now we can just say Run Selected Map. It's going to pop up with a little window here. Make sure the disk was already inside into your CD-ROM. And here comes the game. Now let me move that back into position. Yes, Infinity Ward. And here's the game. I'm now in my level. And there you see blue, red, white, and I'm in this area. I can run around. Excellent. Okay, now I'm going to quit. And remember I said I was going to show you quickly how to turn this into a multiplayer map. There's a few very important steps. So let's go over to Applications. Let's go into Launch Level Editor. When I load this up, I'm going to load up my previous map by going, I'll just click the open and I'll say Test 2. There's our map. I'll right click and drag that back into my center view. Make sure nothing's accidentally selected. Now let's look, oh, the camera's inside the player here. Okay, first of all, your multiplayer map will not work with a single player spawn point. Select with the Control, click, and then press the backspace button to delete it. We need to put in different spawn points. And the most important ones to put in for whenever you're running from the editor here that you compile and test the map is to put in the MP and go down to here, Team Deathmatch spawn. I found that I put in that one. Now let's make sure it's not in the floor. It was in the floor. Oh, my grid's changed. Hit the bracket next to the letter P to change it to 8 and move that back down. There we go. And now I need to hit escape, and I want to put in each of these MP TDM spawn points, allies, and then I want to put in the other one, MP TDM spawn axis, There you go. Now I've got each of the players in there, and the map should not have an issue later on. But there's another interesting thing about this, is that whenever the game loads, what are you or whenever the game finishes, what are you going to see? Are you just going to see blank emptiness? Yeah, unless you put in this other entity. Now let's say I want to put it in right over here. You right-click and you put in the MP Global Intermission, and that is where the camera is going to be set up whenever you're not in the game, you're just waiting to load, or at the end of the game. I'm going to raise it up into the air, and I'm going to press the N key. Remember we changed the position that these guys were looking in, or the single player spawn point was looking? I want to do the same thing to the camera and face it into that area. Okay, press the N key again because I'm done. Escape. Now don't save the map as the test 2. We got to rename it. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to call it MP underscore test 2. Very important that it starts with MP underscore. I'm going to save that. And now my map is saved, and it should be ready to run with your multiplayer. At least for Team Deathmatch. And now I'm going to close this out. And I'm going to go to Level Compiling. I need to refresh my list. There's MP test 2. Let's compile the BSP. It's going to run through this. Yes, it has to open up the game. And depending on how fast your machine is depending on how fast all of this will take place. Usually what I'll end up doing with this is, yeah, I know it's waiting to do something. Well, it's not actually doing much. So I'm going to close it out manually. Alright, done. Now I'm going to compile reflections. Again, this window pops up. Oh, and when it does, my audio, for recording, I can't hear myself because the multiplayer game likes to cut out your audio. So, let's see. It's still compiling back here. And I can't show you the window. Now, this may actually take a while. There we go. Okay, so I just edited that out because it took so long, and it really does take a while to compile those reflections, and it's finally done. Now, I'm going to build the fast file. Yes, I know there's no zone files yet, and that's what we're going to create. It runs through, saving, could not